just had to leave the pathway because no sooner did I get out the car, I needed a wee. And there's families and dog walkers around here, so I thought I'd better leave the path because I don't want to be that guy. Nothing beats a nice quiet walk like a grizzling child. We've come a little bit southwest today, down along the chalk ridge into Buckinghamshire, towards the direction of Oxfordshire. We come to have a look at Coombe Hill, which is just next to a little village called Ellsborough, not Edlesborough, Ellsborough, and Butler's Cross. I'm just making my way at the moment up to an old a monument on top of the hill. I think it's a monument to the Boer War, and the OS map shows that there are two nice panoramic viewpoints up there. Then we'll pop over to Pulpit Hill, which is a neighbouring chalk hill with a hill fort on top of it. Now, sitting between the two is a place called Chequers. You might have heard that name in the news occasionally. It's where the Prime Minister and all the Bullingdon boys, it's where they entertain themselves on their days off. So I dread to imagine what kind of heinous debauchery has gone on in that place over the years. And I'm also slightly concerned that if I get too close, I might just find myself with a security services sniper looking at me down his scope. Hear the silence. Oh no! I think that must be our monument there, look. There's a nice big parasol mushroom, look. Yeah, give you an idea of scale. And looks like maybe that's its source of nutrition. They are edible, these ones. I've eaten them before. Cooked. There's a lot of gorse around on this little particular part of the northern side of the Chilterns. I'm not used to seeing gorse. Still in bloom there, look as well. I've put my gloves on. They forecast an icy front coming in this weekend, and it's here already. I've got my little snood round my neck and my gloves on my hands. Now, just over there in the background you can see, that's Wendover Woods, that hill there. And my little patch is out of sight beyond that. Ivanhoe Beacon and Dunstable Downs and Tottenham Knolls. There's quite a few people around, so we're not going to get too much of a look at this this monument. It's quite an impressive one, although it's been struck by lightning twice. Well, duh, look where they put it. It was destroyed, I think, in the 1930s and again in the 1990s, and it's had to be rebuilt on a couple of occasions. But this time they've integrated a lightning rod, and I can just see a little something poking out the top there. It's a memorial to the Boer War, the Boer War, however it's pronounced. Sorry about the background chatter. Lovely views from here. Must be astounding on a clear day. That hill you can see there is Beacon Hill. I'd guess from the name, possibly used as one of that chain of beacons that Ivanhoe was part of. And then that wooded hilltop you can see over there is Pulpit Hill. That's where the hill fort is. We're going to go over there and have a look in a little bit. That big one I'll put off in the distance there, that is Prince's Risborough. I think it must be Prince's Risborough. And we'll work our way down that far one day. Not today though. And look, there's Chequers. Somewhere, there it is. So that's where the Prime Ministers spend their spare time and host their drunken events and make their sinister deals. Boris recovered there. Was it a year ago or so when he got the lurgy? They sent him there to recuperate. Now, what I found out was just recently. This is quite funny. It's actually the 100th anniversary of that building being given to Parliament as a retreat. So Boris decided that he was going to put on a little get-together of all the surviving ex-prime ministers. So he wrote to John Major, Tony Blair, Theresa May, Gordon Brown, David Cameron. He said, "Come on, you lot, let's all get together for old times' sake. You know, we'll sacrifice a few virgins, we'll worship a few giant owls." And they all refused him, except for Theresa May. None of them were interested. They all snubbed him. I don't know if Theresa May went on her own and they sat there, you know, forlornly eating foie gras and lark's tongues. Bad luck, Boris. Now, Coombe Hill here that I'm standing on was originally part of the estate of Chequers down there. But when Chequers was handed over to Parliament in, I think, 1921, Coombe Hill here was handed over to the National Trust. Now, supposedly, somewhere just south of the monument, and I'm just headed south of the monument now, there's a Bronze Age dyke. Don't snigger. They've seen me. I'm getting closer. Still haven't seen any dykes yet. I'm going to keep walking along this bit, along the southwestern side of the hill. I wonder how close I can get before they actually start shooting at me. I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to be on this bit. Quite an obvious ditch of some sort running down the side of the hill towards the farm there. Could be our dyke. I think it might be, you know, because if you follow it up the side of the hill here, you can actually still see. You can still see it coming through here. And then off into the gorse. If we have a look just back down there, you can see the continuation of it. We're just sort of walking through it now. Oh, a bit thick and spiky. You can just see it coming into view there now, following the line that I'm taking. Off down the side of the hill there. I think that could well be it. As you can hear, it is a little bit busy here. I've had a nice little look, so now I'm going to pop over there to Pulpit Hill and we'll see if we can see that fort. Yeah, as you can see, lots of people. At least it means no one will be shooting at me today. Lovely, lovely woods. Some very old coppices. That's appropriate for the village that overlooks the Chequers site of debauchery. Sorry, Boris. As soon as the weather turns cold, when you got to go, you got to go. Now this is a much steeper climb from down at the road up to the fort. At least I hope this is taking me to the fort. There's a lot more pine going on this side of that little valley that Chequers sits in. Back over there at Coombe Hill, it was mostly oak. Absolutely loads of oak. A bit more mixed here and noticeably more pine. I'm glad they put that there, because I would have carried on that way. Somewhere up through there. Might be just about to start seeing some obvious earthworks. They certainly had no shortage of flint to work, did they? There are Stone Age finds here, as well as the fort. I think we might have our first earthworks. I'd say so. Somebody's even roughly delineated the ditch there next to the mound. So I'm going to guess, as this is the first lump that we've come across, this is going to be the outer motte. Now I know from having a look online there's an outer motte and an inner motte. This must be the outer one. You come up over the top of the mound, there's the inner one. Now apparently the entrance to the fort is supposed to be very obvious. I should have done a better job of looking to see which side of the fort it was on. like a lot of these hill forts, and this one here would have been very much like the ones further north along the ridge. The ones a bit more in my area, like Ivanhoe, Tottenham, Sharpenhoe, Ravensborough. Same sort of deal. Although they were defensible and built to withstand attacks in times of war, it wasn't really their primary function. They were thought to be really mostly used as farmsteads and homesteads up here on top of the fort within here. And it's a few hundred feet long, this one. It's quite large. I'd say probably comparable to Sharpenhoe, which I remember commenting on at the time as being massive by my standards. There would have been homes and livestock up here. None of these trees would have been here, obviously. They always end up covered in trees, which is a mixed blessing because it can either help to preserve or it can damage them. You can see this nice big flat plateau down there over the mounds. Look, this nice big flat plateau on top. There would have been livestock and homes in here, and then further down into the valley there, Boris's back garden, they would have been growing their crops. And it all seems to rise up again, look. So I walk into the little plateau bit, it's rising up sharply again in the middle, so maybe there was even a keep of some sort here, just for when things were looking extra treacherous. Aha, we have a nice view. So I think we must be on the... I'm not going to get my compass out, I haven't got a hand free. I think we must be looking out to the northwest of Pulpit Hill there. Of course, back in the day when it was in use and people lived here, none of this hillside woods would have been here. They'd have had clear views all round. So I'm going to guess the main entrance was not on this side, because look at that. The camera's not going to show it, is it? But that is extremely steep down there. Once you get past about there, it looks like it drops straight off. Probably a bit of a natural feature, but then they would have taken advantage of that and dug it even more steeply. So I don't think we're going to be looking at a main entrance on that side, are we? Let's have a look a bit further along there. Yeah, this side is all far, far too steep. It's a long drop down there to the bottom of the valley. It looks like there's a little bit of a coombe coming in here. It's not going to be there. Round on this side, however, it does look much more accessible, and there's also much more in the way of built defences over on this side. Obviously, behind me, where we were just looking, there's obviously already a very, very steep natural slope, which they probably adapted even further. And then on this side, where it would have been much easier to get in, this is where they've built all of their earthworks and their ditches and mounds. So it's going to be somewhere along here, I would have thought, that we might find the entrance. Well, I've very definitely found the entrance. I'm going to say there's no doubt about it. There's part of the, I think the inner, yes the inner, because there's the outer motte. I'm standing on a raised area, and then to my other side is more of the inner motte. So what I'm standing on here is an earthen crossing. The moats go round there through there, and this bit here where there is an existing footpath seems to have been the main entrance. And again, like the trenches we passed on the way in, they've marked it out with this wattle fencing. So I'm going to say, yeah, this is the main entrance to it. So the entrance comes in from almost the direction of Chequers. Maybe there was a settlement down there as well, but eventually ended up being the manor house that it is now. I love it when you can look at an old tree and try and figure out its story. If you see a particularly old or a particularly strangely shaped tree, you can kind of look at it and figure out how it came to be looking the way it does. You know, you might be able to see that at one point in its early stages it might have been wrapped around something to an extent, or it might have been completely shaded from any daylight from one side, and it will cause it to grow in strange ways. But what the hell has happened to this one? Looks like the main trunk there has been cut off, leaving this side shoot, or branch I suppose it would have been. And what the bloody hell's it playing at? Look, somebody's put a stick in there. Oh. Don't know what that's all about. And what's happened to it here? It's grown down, and it's changed its mind, and it's spun back round again and grown back up. I don't know what could have caused it to do that. What a fascinating sight though. It's only 2:45 in the afternoon and the light's going. It will be almost pretty much dark within an hour. So it's time to head round, get back home. As long as I can find the path. Ah, I see a dog. That's probably where the path is. Right, well, I make no apologies whatsoever for urinating in Boris's back garden. That was a nice walk, and all I can say to Boris is you're lucky it wasn't worse, mate. See you all later.